And we head over to our Cease Electronic phone lines. Welcome in our next guest. All guests on the score brought to you by Fleet Farm. Visit fleetfarm.com. Fleet Farm, built for real life. And Brian, whether it's Stone Tone gift cards or Fleet Farm gift cards, we're going to owe this next guest a boatload because he was up late because of the Padres and Giants. But joining us now is John Anderson, SportsCenter anchor, also host of Inside Wisconsin, the audio and video podcast, available wherever you subscribe to your favorite podcast. John, appreciate the time. It is a huge sports weekend, not only in the state of Wisconsin, but nationally for the state of Wisconsin. Ryder Cup going off. It's a good time. I know you're originally from Wisconsin. Good time to bring these Wisconsin vibes to the forefront.
It is amazing to have the week. Usually, October, late September is always great because college football starts and you get going, and the baseball games that are there are still really meaningful, and the NFL has started. Throw in the Ryder Cup, and the fact that we can get it all right there in our home state is really remarkable. That all that can be going on at once. I don't know how we keep up, but I know that all the TVs on the Stone Toad are probably taken at this point. Although I love it because you can watch it. I was listening to the ads we were waiting. That we can watch any game that I want. Like, how many guys have the guts to go, hey, can you put the Bengals game on for me? Is that okay? Instead of the Packers? Like, just one screen's all we need. I'm not sure you can get away with that. But, yeah, it's fantastic, and it's great for the state that, that people can turn on and see that we don't just sit in Lambeau Field with cheese in our head. We got a lot of other things going on.
John, Brian Butch here. One of the things with what you guys are doing with Inside Wisconsin, you had Brian Anderson on, and he broke some news, said that he's coming back to work for the Brewers, which was great. But you guys have had some great guests on what you guys do. How fun is it to do this, knowing that you grew up in Wisconsin, to kind of have this overall with Wisconsin feel and theme to what you're doing? Because I think not enough people know how great the people we have here and how successful they've been that have come out of Wisconsin.
Yeah, I find that, and listen, I've been spoiled. I mean, jaded, or wait, no, spoiled. One of those by 20-some-odd years here on the East Coast. And people kind of tend to forget that, or either, not even tend to forget, Brian, like they don't even know.
Yeah.
And that happened. I worked, before I was in at ESPN, I was in Phoenix, and then before that I was in Oklahoma, and I always say that Oklahoma, you could find 2 and 3 steps, man, and you could find something significant that happened at Oklahoma. And Wisconsin's very much the same way that it's out here, and we have people, and with Inside Wisconsin, right, we've been kind of sports heavy, but there's all kinds of things that you can explore, whether it's people that are entertainment, that are people that had significant contributions to pop culture, whether it's people that have done things in science or industry. There's just, it's sort of a never-ending a list of folks. We hope to be around on Inside Wisconsin for some time. You can find the Inside Wisco show over there on Twitter or online, and that helps you get there. And so it's kind of fun, and obviously sports is sort of my forte. That's where, or at least that's where I spend so much of my time anymore. I'm not sure I'm able to run down Les Paul or relative to Les Paul to talk about the electric guitar. But it's a fascinating thing. It's great to just talk about that, especially. And I always tell people it helps keeps me connected. Other than just calling home to my mom once a week in De Pere and saying, "Hey, how are things? What's going on?" And it gives me a better perspective. Usually, when I ask my mom what's going on, I find out about like Mrs. Carrick and Mrs. Bale, the other neighbor ladies that are around. So it's cool to me. And I have so much at age 56, so much worthless information in my head. Like, where can I get rid of this worthless information about Wisconsin? And yet we've found an audience of people who crave that kind of stuff. So it's great.
Yeah, you mentioned outside of other than sport, I mean, you've had Dick Leinenkugel on, Charlie Behrens. You've talked about Wisconsin weather and being a weatherman. So you and Trevor have...
I was so mad to miss that show, by the way. So mad.
What is...
I was.
Well... Because today it'll
Here's
be...
what people tell me this all the time. I worked in local news for 10 or 12 years, and I loved it. It was great. I'd go back in a heartbeat if the right job came back. But the problem was, every time there was severe weather, whether it was a tornado in Oklahoma or it was actual raindrops in Phoenix, or I watched the weather guys out here when it snows, And what do? They take it out of weather. Hey, or they take the extra time out of sports. Hey, weather needs an extra 30 seconds. Sorry, we're taking it out of sports. The beauty of being here at ESPN is, like, I never lose time to the weather guys. So I totally wanted to be on there and abuse those dudes. One, because it took so much of my time in my life when I should be doing that sports stuff. Instead, we got to take it to that. And two, I always want to know why it is when there's severe weather they can't keep their jackets on. You got to take the jacket off and you roll up the sleeves. Then you know you've got a real weather crisis. You can't have a weather crisis if you have your blazer on. Got to have the blazer off. The sleeves are rolled up. And now you know that I'm dug in on my Doppler radar, and you have to trust me.
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is the question that I have for you, though. You've got the Ryder Cup. You've got Wisconsin football.
Yeah.
You've got the Brewers. How do you handle that? Are you a multi-TV guy? I mean, when you're not at work you got TV screens. You can see it all. That I understand. But when you're at home on the couch, are you a multi-TV guy? How are you going to handle this weekend?
The beauty is I have whatever it is, the new cable system I have, is I can hop between like 8 channels at once instead of just having the back button. When the back comes up, I get kind of smorgasbord on the bottom of those 3. And then because of a lot of viewing experience in the past, I'm an expert at zipping between those. Right, golf shots, I can zip between one easy enough. We got to huddle up on the play, so I can see that. You know, you want the Brewer game, that's okay. Somebody's going to shake somebody off, rearrange their dirt, so that's going to take a minute. So you can bounce between all of them, and then you know there's always the replay. You can catch one of those that comes through. So it's not as big a chore as you want. But I'll be honest, the remote goes, the battery goes in the remote. Then it could be like a guy without his email for a while or out his phone. Then you don't know what to do with yourself, and it wouldn't last very long. But I think I can keep track of all of them at one time.
I would have pegged you for a couple TV guy. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I mean,
No.
I know you can maneuver it, but maybe it's just because I'm not smart enough, so that works.
Yeah, at work I have several, but at home there's just it's not like we're like pioneers and we have just a one TV per room thing. That just happens how it is. So if not for the remote, I'd put on miles. I'd have to run from like my room down to the kids' playroom and then upstairs to where I've got to, you know. So I like to be more sedentary, and then move around.
Do you have the Wisconsin must-have?
With the modern conditions.
Do you have the Wisconsin must-have a TV in the kitchen?
Oh, yeah, we have that, of course.
Right?
Because how is he going to watch Wheel of Fortune at 5:30 or whatever it is?
True. John
I'm
Anderson.
married, all right? These things happen.
John Anderson of Sports Center, also host of Inside Wisconsin, the podcast, audio, video, InsideWisconsin.com, joining us. All right, you can choose one and one only. It's going to be hard. I'm going to put you on the spot here. A U.S. win in the Ryder Cup on Wisconsin soil, a Brewers World Series, a Packers Super Bowl, or a Badgers run to the national championship. What do you want most as a former Wisconsinite?
Well, first off, once a Wisconsinite, always a Wisconsinite.
I misspoke there.
That's a no-brainer for me. I would ride with the Brewers all the way. I'm fretting right now because we can't seem to score, and I'm worried that even though it's a couple of games and they're trying to get things ready and in line for the postseason and people are healthy, I'm still on edge. The Badgers are great. Love them. When they went to the Rose Bowl the first time under Alvarez, I'm like, okay, that's one of my lifelong dreams for the Badgers. I've seen that happen for them. Good. The Packers have won enough Super Bowls. Another one would always be nice. I'm good with that. The Ryder Cup is exciting, but it is, to me, at some point, still an exhibition match, a bunch of guys that, you know, I love how we're divided up to the U.S. and Europeans when really it's just a bunch of dudes from Florida that are actually playing. They just put on different colors and check their passports. So I am all about the Brewers in that scenario. That's not even close. I'm not even sure there's a runner-up in that.
All right. Well, that'll be our poll question today. We'll see how the listeners agree or disagree with you on that. One final thing. You're living out, I think, every sports kid's dream who wants to get into broadcasting. You get to do it on Sports Center. What would you tell, say, a youngster listening today on the first steps to potentially getting to where you're at today?
Wow, that's terrific. Because I've told people this more than once. So you guys are like the 100th people I've told this, whether it was other interviews or in classes and stuff. If there had been a Sports Center when I was a kid, growing up in the 70s, I'd have never left the house. I don't know how I would ever have gotten to school on time because I would have sat and just watched. As it was, I eventually came to the end of the sports page, and so I could put that down and go off to school. Now I just be like, oh, I'll watch that. First take, good. Let's watch that. John, do you think you should go to school? No, I'm good. Even though I'd have been in third grade. I tell everybody the same thing. I think that in the entirety of media, the thing that you can learn to put yourself apart, set yourself apart, is if you can learn to write and write well, then I think you got a chance. And then I think that is a skill that translates to any medium, right? Even though you don't see it most often with me on sport, you don't see the words come across the screen. I do a lot of writing every day, and if you can write well, then you can write for a newspaper or a blog or for the internet or for a magazine and I think that's just the biggest thing you can do is learn to write well. And then just, if you're really into sports, dig it so that you can write well about it, so that you can tell people and let them know that you know what you're talking about. And that's no different if you were covering politics or the education beat or whatever, sports. Know your stuff and write it well, and then I think you can go far in the business.
John, I just want to say thanks for entertaining us all the time that you do, and thanks for putting kind of this spin on Wisconsin. It's fun to be a part of it. It's fun to have what you guys are doing, and let people know that there's a lot of good things in Wisconsin. Obviously, they get to see it this week with everything that's going on. But what you guys are doing with the podcast and the how you can watch it as well, all that with Inside Wisconsin, I just want to say thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. It's not just me. Boy, Trevor Thomas had a great idea, and I just kind of have come along for the ride. And on occasion, I know a person or two. I said, we can probably get these guys. And then, as always, you guys know this every day. At some point, you are beholden to the generous conspiracy of people that are nice enough to come on and help visit with you. I'm more than happy anytime you guys want to visit to give me a ring because I love to talk about Wisconsin. And we're that way when Barry Alvarez says, sure, we'll come on. Or Dick Langenkugel, or Brian Anderson, and those guys. It's helpful when people have an interest in that, and that helps the viewers, and it's all great stuff. So it's my pleasure to be on. It's my pleasure to fight the Yankee-Red Sox battle out here every night on ESPN and let them know that that little funny-looking glove is worth watching baseball as well. And then God bless the Packers, because we did manage to make a lot of news in the offseason, didn't we? People knew where Wisconsin was thanks to the Packers. Yeah, now at least you guys, hopefully things have calmed down by about 400 degrees temperature-wise for you guys this week to last week with the Packers.
Yeah, it was fun last week. We were in the mode of just let's calm ourselves and get back to reality. But, hey, as Brian said, we appreciate your time. Just next time, let's not do it after Giants and Padres, all right?
Dude, I'm not sure you can ever get away from that. It's going to be something. There's always somebody playing baseball at that hour. So I remember Buck Showalter once telling me, when I worked in Arizona, John, the beauty of our game is it doesn't have a clock. And I want to go, Buck, you're full of crap. Your game needs a clock. So enjoy, men. Have fun.
I appreciate it, John. Thank you for your time. John Anderson, SportsCenter host and anchor. Also, you can hear him and see him on Inside Wisconsin. It's the audio-video podcast centered on Wisconsin. InsideWisconsin.com. He and Trevor Thomas, all things Wisconsin. Mentioned Charlie Barron's in there. Brian, you've had opportunity to catch up with Charlie. He's had Barry on. Brian Anderson broke the news. This is actually how this kind of started. I can't remember what Brewer game it was, but BA and Rock were going back and forth during the Tavern of the Game. And Brian dropped John's name and Inside Wisconsin and being on that. And talked about potentially breaking some news. So I cut that video out. I tagged Inside Wisconsin on it, and because they didn't know that they were getting some run on Bally Sports Wisconsin, and that episode hadn't dropped yet. So they had recorded it, but BA dropped it a little bit early. So I don't know inherently if he broke news and then I just brought it to the forefront. But we had BA's guest appearance on Inside Wisconsin before Inside Wisconsin had announced it. So it was kind of funny how that transpired. And then got in contact with John, and he was gracious enough to get home at 3 a.m. and then wake up at 7:35 to jump on with us.
Yeah, no, it was great. Great interview. Loved it. Love what he's doing. Love that he's bringing some excitement to what Wisconsin's doing here.
Well, and it's fitting, right?
Absolutely.
Ryder Cup, Monday night, Sunday night football, Badgers at Soldier Field. I don't know if it gets much better than this. We've had a few weekends like this where you've had some national stage. This is one of the biggest ones I can remember.